Affairs 28 September 2024. India and Uzbekistan has signed a bilateral BIT agreement, and it is reciprocal agreement for the according protection to investments by national and companies of one state to another state. And India has approved a new model BIT text in 2015 itself, and it is going to replace India's model BIT, which has been signed in 1993. And it is also going to have security and defense cooperation, and that is called the SLIC. And when you talk about the position of Uzbekistan, then it is surrounded by Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, etc. Now let's move to the next current affair, and it is saying negative effect of artificial intelligence, because as we know that ChatGPT and other AI based virtual assistants consumes at least 10 times more electricity than Google search engine. That's why it is going to have negative impact on the environment, and data center hosting artificial intelligence product like produces more e-waste. Hence, United Nations Environment Program UNEP has recommended for effective utilization of artificial intelligence through by countries, and so that it can be established there so that there can be establishment of standardized procedure for the measurement of environmental impact. Now let's move to the next current affairs. It is about Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission ABDM, and because it has completed 3 years, and ABDM has been launched in 2021 itself by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and it has aligned its objective with National Health Policy 2027, and it is related to digital public infrastructure, which is going to enable interoperability in digital health transactions. And when we talk about the key features, then it is having Ayushman Bharat Health Account Abhay account, which is going to have unique health identifier for the citizen. Second one is healthcare professional registry HPR, because it is going to have repository of all health professionals. Third one is health facility registries for public and private health facilities, and this infographic is about Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission ecosystem, and it contains all central government, state government, program management, regulators, association, and different NGOs working different health tech companies which are engaged in these things. Now let's move to the next current affair. It is about antimicrobial resistance, because as we know that 79th United Nations General Assembly meeting on antimicrobial resistance has taken place, and this has taken a goal to reach diversifying funding sources so that antimicrobial resistance partnership trust fund can be developed, and WHO aware classification along with watch and rescue group has been made. Now let's move to the next current affair. It is about Economic Advisor Council to Prime Minister, which says that it is highlighting the untapped potential of agroforestry in India. As we know, the agroforestry is a collective term for the land use system and technologies where woody and perennial trees, scrub, palms and bamboo etc. are deliberately used on the same land management unit as a crop and animal. Means it is using collectively the technologies when woody or perennial trees are being deliberately used on the same land with crops and animals. And when we talk about the challenges, then conservation first policy approach, which was previously taken by government, it is prohibiting felling of trees and leading to decline of timber production. Example can be National Forest Policy of 1988 and government case 1996 has restricted the tree felling, and it has led to the fourfold increase in imports of the timber. Again, complex procedure has been part of the system, and it has led to the underutilization of National Transit Pass system, which was responsible for transportation of timber and bamboos. Therefore, Prime Minister's Economic Council has recommended for the deregulation of high-value native timber species like teak, gurjan and meranti, and prioritize ownership of tree over ownership of land. That's why it is going to reduce the burden of providing land ownership with the help of technology. Example, Tigram, timber traceability tool. Now let's move to the next current affair. India has reiterated its commitment to enhance social determinants of health during G20 Joint Finance Task Force high-level meeting in 79th session of UN Assembly on Social Determinants of Health (SDH). As we know that SDH are non-medical factors that influences health outcome, and this condition in which people are born, grown, work, live, and age. And it consists of wider set of forces and systems shaping the condition of daily life, and it can can be political system, agendas, social norms, social policies, political systems. An example of SDGs can be education, income, social protection, unemployment, job insecurity. And when you talk about WHO Commission on SDGs, social determinants of health, it aims to achieve three guideline target by 2024. First one is halving life expectancy gap between countries and social groups. Second one is halving adult mortality rates in all countries, and third one is achieving 90 to 95% reduction in child and maternal mortality. Next current affair is related to Committee of 10 C10 group, and India's External Affairs Minister has participated in first ever joint ministerial meeting of C10 and L9 grouping. L69 grouping is related to countries of Africa, Latin America, Caribbean, Pacific, Iceland and Asia. And India is member to both C10 and L69. C10 grouping having its genesis in 10 African Ministers of Finance and Central Bank Governors, C10. It has been created in 2008 itself, and members are Algeria, Botswana, Cameroon, Egypt, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, Tanzania, Central Bank of West African States, CBWAS, and Central Bank of Central African States, CBCAS. And it is having mandate to enhance African participation in governance of international financial institutions. The next current affair is related to India, Brazil, South Africa Foreign Ministers Declaration of United Front Against Global Terrorism. And the declaration has called for stringent action against group listed by United Nations. And as we know that ISBA grouping has its origin in Brazilian declaration in 2003 itself, and it led to the formalization of ISBA Dialogue Forum. Next current affair is related to United Union Minister Food and Public Distribution, which has highlighted India as world's third largest producer and consumer of ethanol. As we know that US is the largest producer of ethanol, followed by Brazil, and ethanol is having its chemical compound number C2H5OH. It is a colorless liquid, and it is having a characteristic odor firmly caramelized related to fermentation of sugar. It is also known as ethyl alcohol, and India's initiative in ethanol blending petrol EBP program, which is having target of blending 20% of ethanol into petrol by 2025 and 2026. And PM Jeevan Yojana is related to second generation non-food source ethanol. Now let's move to the next current affair. It is related to GST Council meeting and GST compensation cess, and it was decided that GST Council has set up a group of ministers which is going to decide upon the taxation of luxury, seen and demerit goods once the compensation cess is going to end by March 2026. The next current affair is related to thermobaric weapon, which is used by Russia and Ukraine. And thermobaric weapon are the fuel cloud generated after strike, and when ignited it causes a huge temperature explosion, and it uses atmospheric oxygen to ignite the fuel, and as opposed to use of oxidizer in the conventional explosion. That's why it creates a vacuum effect after the high pressure blast, as oxygen is fully going to be consumed. Next current affairs is related to Meta, and it has availed its AR glass Orion, and it is going to be a revolutionary product in the field of artificial augmented reality and virtual reality. Trinidad Tobago, with capital Port of Spain, was in news because it became the first country in Caribbean to adopt India's UPI platform. And when I talk about the political boundary, then it is situated northeast of Venezuela and northwest of Guyana, and mountain ranges includes northern ranges, a continuous nation of coastal range of Andes mountain in Venezuela, and it is having Pitch Lake in Trinidad and Tobago. When you talk about the Pitch Lake geographical location, then it is located in, we can have its geographical location through map, and it shows, we can have a zoom image. Pitch Lake is being shown here. As we can see the location of Pitch Lake here, and it is world's largest natural reservoir of asphalt, and highest point is Mount Arapo, and Mount Arapo is located in geographical map as shown here, El Arapo. Here you can see the mountain. And when you talk about, this is Trinidad and Tobago. Now let's move to the, and major rivers are Otoriar and Caroni. Now let's move to the next current affair, and it is related to Karnataka government, which has withdrawn general consent which was given to CBI for the investigation cases. And when you talk about the type of consent, then there are two types of consent. One is general consent, which allows CBI to conduct investigation within state without requiring fresh approval from for each cases. And second one is case specific consent. And when general consent is being revoked, then CBI must seek consent from the state government for every individual cases which is going to be taken over by CBI. Now let's move to the next current affair, and it is related to Arunachal Pradesh because Indian mountaineers has renamed a majestic summit as Sangyang Gaitusu Peak after the 6th Dalai Lama. This is the picture of 6th Dalai Lama. When you talk about the line of actual control, then Malli in the land of Arunachal Pradesh or eastern sector, which is Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim. Here LAC is called McMahon line, and in middle sector and Uttarakhand sector and western sector Ladakh sector. That's why McMahon term for LAC is only going to be used along Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim, or it is called eastern sector. And when you talk about the next current affair, then it is related to 39th position of India among 133 countries in Global Innovation Index, and it is published by WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, and it is a specialized agency of United Nations, and it used to measure performance based on absorption, diffusion of knowledge, creative output. When you talk about the Global Innovation Index 2024, and top performers are Switzerland, Sweden, United States and Singapore, and in fastest 10-year climbers are China, Turkey, India, Vietnam and Philippines. And when you talk about the initiative of India in the field of cyber global innovation, then it is Atal Innovation Mission and Anusandhan National Research Foundation, which has been established to foster culture of research. Again, Biotechnology Industry Research Assistant Council (BIRAC) is also playing an important part in development of Department of Biotechnology, and which is going to strengthen and empowering biotechnology engineers throughout the nation. Third one is National Research Foundation, which has announced as part of National Education Policy 2022, and NRF, National Research Foundation, is going to promote a culture of research through innovation in universities and higher education. The next current affair includes India's biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction (BBGN), because India has formally signed Global Ocean Treaty, also known as Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction. And Ministry of Earth Sciences is going to be one of the nodal agency, and agreement is going to enhance India's strategic presence in areas beyond exclusive economic zone. And as we know that it is going to help in achieving SDG, Sustainable Development Goal 14, which is life below waters. And when you talk about what is BBNJ, biodiversity beyond natural jurisdiction, then it is the agreement of High Sea Treaty, and it is an international treaty under United Nations Convention on Law of Sea, UN clause, and it is going to implement BBNJ agreement, and BBNJ agreement will be the third implementation agreement under UN clause, and the first one was the 1994 implementation agreement, which addressed the exploitation and extraction of mineral resources in international seabed area. Second one was 1995 UN fish stock agreement, which was addressing the conservation and management of strangling and highly migratory fish stocks in the oceans. And the third one is BBNJ. And when you talk about UN clause, then it was adopted in 1982 and came into force in 1994, and it lays down comprehensive regimes of law and order in world's ocean and sea, establishing rules governing all uses of oceans and their resources. The next current affairs is related to Indian Army aiming for long-range rocket, because as we know that in Ukraine war and in the Gaza strike by Israel, the need of long-range rockets are vital for the national defense. And when you talk about the India's long-range rocket arsenal, then Nirbhay missile is one of the long-range subsonic cruise missile with capability to deep penetration into adversary territory, and it can be launched from sea and air platform. Second one is Pralay missile. It is surface to surface short range or 500 kilometers area, and it is ballistic missile with capacity load of 500 to 1000 kg. Third one is Pinaka multi-barrel rocket launcher (MBRL), and it is all-weather multi-barrel artillery weapon system to deliver a large volume of fire within a very short range of time. And next current affairs include related to Jitiya festival, which is being celebrated throughout eastern UP, Bihar and Jharkhand, and because of holy dip in rivers, it has led to the death of more than 46 people in Bihar, and it is significant because festival especially in eastern UP, Bihar and Jharkhand as well as Nepal, and it has been celebrated for 3 days, taking place during the 7th to 9th lunar days of Krishna Paksha in the month of Aswin, and it contains Nahai Khai, and the second day is marked by rigorous fasting rituals, and third is called Prana, which is the breaking of fast with a meal. The next current affairs is related to Globe, and it is Global Operational Network of Anti-Corruption Law Enforcement Agency, Globe Network, and it is initiative of G20, and it is related to governance and corruption. Network has one chair and one vice chair and 13 members. Ministry of Home Affairs is the central authority for Globe Network, and CBI and ED, Enforcement Directorate, are the members authorized from Indian side to represent India in Globe Network. And during G20's presidency in 2023, two high-level principles for the combating corruption have been adopted in Global Network. Next current affair include Bharat G6 Alliance, B6GA, and it is related to technology development during high level meeting in Bangalore, and it is a platform which is going to bring academia, industry and government to a common platform, and it is going to comprehensively dealing with the 6G technology in India and with Bharat G6 vision, because Prime Minister Narendra Modi has unveiled Bharat G6 mission aiming to make India as a leading nation in G6 sixth generation technology by 2030, and it is going to based on three core principles of affordability, sustainability and ubiquity. Next current affair is related to tourism, because World Tourism Day is to be celebrated on 27th September, and this year theme was tourism and peace, and because it is also going to support SDG 3 on climate action, and United Nations World Tourism Organization UNWTO has raised awareness about the special cultural and economic importance of tourism, and UNWTO headquarters is situated in Madrid, Spain, and in 2024 Georgia will have the honor of hosting the important event, and the theme of World Tourism Day was tourism and peace. When I talk about the tourism influx in India, then Andhra Pradesh tops the list with 11.1%, followed by Tamil Nadu is leading with 12%, Andhra Pradesh is second, and Karnataka is third. I am making correction again because the tourist influx in state shows UP is holding first position with 18.4% intake, Tamil Nadu is second position with 12.6% influx, and Andhra Pradesh with 11.1% stands at position number 3. Now let's move to the next current affair, and it is related to World Trade Organization WTO, and it is related to unreported and unregulated IUU fishing. And as we know that WTO 12th Ministerial Conference also prohibits providing subsidies to fishing on higher seas, and which are outside the jurisdiction of coastal countries. When you talk about the special and differential treatment, as it is developing countries and least developing countries has been allowed a transition period of 2 years from the date of entry into force of the agreement, and they will have no obligation to implement disciplines from the specific period. And when you talk about the exempted area, then in exempted area no prohibition has been imposed on WTO members regarding granting or maintaining subsidy to its vessels or operating as long as it is not carrying out IEU, means it is not carrying unreported and unregulated fishing. No prohibition on providing subsidies have been imposed for fishing regulations regarding overfished stock as long as subsidies are implemented to rebuild the stock to a biological sustainable level. And the top 5 countries including subsidies for the fishings are China, European Union, US, South Korea and Japan, and collectively accounts for 58% of global fishing. India ranks as third largest fishing producing country globally after China and Indonesia. Now let's move to the next current affairs. It is related to Indian Sugar Mills Association, because they have projected a surge in sugar production at 34 million metric ton, and it is larger than the last year. And Brazil is the top sugar producer, and when I talk about India, then India is largest consumer and second largest producer of the sugar in the world. This is the statistics. Now let's move to the next current affairs. It is related to Richard Carrington. He is an English astronomer and who has discovered the first differential rotation of Earth. When we talk about sunspots, then sunspots are mostly limited to latitude between 35 degrees and are not suitable for high altitude rotation measurements. And when we talk about the key facts about sun's atmosphere, then it is having multiple layers and with each having distinct characteristics and temperature. First one is photosphere, and it is visible surface of sun making the boundary between the interior and atmosphere. Second one is chromosphere. It is an irregular layer above the photosphere where temperatures rises from 6000 centigrade to about 20,000 centigrade. Third one is transit region, a thin and very irregular layer of sun's atmosphere that separates the hot corona from the much cooler chromosphere. Fourth one is corona, and it is sun's outer atmosphere and it is much hotter than the underlying chromosphere or photosphere. And beyond corona lies the solar winds, and which is outward flow of charged particle plasma, and which is having its origin in corona. And where solar winds extend far into space, affecting planetary atmospheres and causing phenomena like aurora on Earth. These are the pictorial depiction of the same. As we can see, it is chromosphere, corona are that part of atmosphere. These are sunspot, photosphere is inner part, and this is the prominence. And now let's move to the next current affairs, and it is related to India's Cancer Genome Atlas (IGCA). And because India has already launched its first comprehensive cancer multi-omics data, and when we talk about the portal, and it is going to be multi-omics, it provides genetic, transcriptomic, and proteomic data about breast cancer and others, and it is going to offer data including deoxyribose nucleic acid, ribonucleic acid, and protein profiling of breast cancer patients. And when I talk about the bioportal integration, then it is going to be built on interoperability, recognizing C bioportal platform facilitating seamless integration and global cancer research efforts. And it is going to we have free access, and it is going to offer ethical data sharing practices under biotech pride, which having full form of promotion of research and innovation through data exchange. This is the logo. The next current affairs is related to Department of Telecommunication, because it is going to mandate the features mobile phones, and feature mobile phones are between as we know the smartphones, feature phones, and last one is non-feature phones. Feature phones are less smarter than smartphones, and it has led to the order has raised a concern among mobile manufacturers, because as we know that all phones sold in India are must support auto readout of, and in this Department of Telecommunication announcement, they must have to read the emergency message automatically both in Hindi and English, with manufacturers required to aid support for 4 additional Indian languages each year. And it is going to be last for 30 seconds under standard conditions and 50 seconds for auto read messages until the user acknowledges themselves. Now, the next current affairs is related to central minimum wages for agriculture and industrial worker, and it is going to be based on Minimum Wages Act 1948. And as we know that both central government and state government are empowered to fix, review, and revise the minimum wages, and minimum, or it is also called floor wage, represent the lowest remuneration or payment that employers are legally required to pay to their workers, and it is based on Consumer Price Index for Industrial Workers (CPI-EW), and CPI-EW is published by Labor Bureau under Ministry of Health, Labor and Employment. The next news is related to Indian Institute of Astrophysics (IEA), because they have recently found evidence of interaction between a radio jet emitted from a special kind of galaxy called active galactical nuclei (AGN) and this surrounding interstellar medium. An active galactical nuclei (AGN) is extremely bright central region of galaxy which is dominated by light emitted by dust and gases, and it falls back into black hole, and it is extremely luminous central region and is going to emit so much radiation that it can outshine the rest of the galaxy altogether. And these active galactical nuclei emit radiations across the entire electromagnetic spectrum from radio waves to gamma waves, and these radiation is produced by reaction of central supermassive black hole, and that is devouring materials that goes too close to it. And a galaxy hosting AGN is called active galaxy, and AGNs are the most luminous persistent source of electromagnetic radiation in the universe. This means they can be used to discover distant objects. And they have astronomers has also classified different types of agents, and these are based on observation criteria. The most powerful agents are known as quasars, and which give rise to extremely luminous galactical centers. Another one is a blazar, which is a jet of light and energy that is pointed towards Earth. Next current affair news is related to Tu-22 M3 missile carries by US Russian Aerospace Forces, which has struck Snake Island in Black Sea with KH-22 cruise missiles. Because it is so a long-range missile and it is supersonic cruise missile. It also called by NATO as AS-4 Kitchen. KH-29 family was developed in USA in 1960 and especially designed to be launched from Tupolev-22 bomber. And now this mission was intended primarily to destroy large naval targets like aircraft carrier and other. This is the picture of it. The next current affairs is related to Alexander Dune, and he has been awarded with Shastra Ramanujam Prize, which is awarded by Shastra University, and eligibility is up to 32 years of age with significant achievement in mathematical field with cash prize of 10,000 US dollar. And merit of the contribution of Dune is being recognized for outstanding contribution of analytical number theory. Now the next current affair is related to World Crossberry Day, and it do look like emu, but it is a different species. It is a large flightless bird mostly closely related to emu and considered most dangerous bird in the world because they have strong swimmers and can move quickly on both land and water, and is native to New Guinea and found in Australian rainforest. The next current affairs is related to current account and saving account, and because there is liquidity concern in face of low grown outpacing deposit growth, means loan growth is outpacing deposit growth, made regulators and government worried about the overall economic scenario. And CASA, which is full formed as current account saving account, which is mostly used in West Asian countries and South Asian countries. Now the next current affair is related to safe harbor protection, and it is related to internet service providers and other mediators which are hosting the transmit third party content online, and it refers to legal protection to internet service provider ISPs and other mediators that host or transmit third party content online. The next current affairs is related to whitelist, because as we know that a whitelist or allow list is a cyber security strategy that approves a list of email addresses, IP addresses, domain names or application which while denying all others, and it refers to the process of explicitly allowing certain trusted websites to access a specific resource or platform. And this is the pictorial depiction of whitelisted IP addresses, not whitelisted IP addresses. And this is the new WHO Global Area Quality Guidelines. The next current affairs includes United States, which has imposed tariffs on Chinese imports, which is include 100% duty on electronic vehicle, and it has called a China SOC 2.0, and India and other countries are also taking steps to curb Chinese import to protect domestic industry. And China SOC 2.0 refers to Chinese rapid export growth in high-tech sectors such as solar equipments and electric vehicle. The next current affairs is related to Dominique Pellicot, and who has drugged his wife to sexually exploit her, and it is going to be a game changer because the victim has outspoken in the media, and Giselle has become the feminist icon for refusing to be ashamed and demand a public trial to raise awareness about the drug inflicted sexual abuse. Now the next news is it is related to T.0 settlement, means in the houses the stock exchanges are going to allow T+0 same day settlement for 25 securities, and because it is going to be game changer because India's economy is growing and it is going to be equivalent, or it is going to compete with the global settlement day which is happening across the world in China or USA. The next current affair is related to Prayatna Mitra and Prayatna Didi, and it is implemented by Ministry of Tourism, because they are the person who are going to help the sustainable, safe and local storytelling, and it is going to focus on women and youth for developing tourism experience like heritage walk and food tours. And these trends, Prayatna Mitra and Prayatna Didi, is going to have digital literacy for promoting tourism across the globe, producing globally and recognized ambassadors, receiving badges for identification, ensuring quality experience for tourists. The next current affair is related to Vizhinjam International Seaport, and it is in Kerala because one of the world's largest container ship has docked into the Vizhinjam International Seaport, and it is related to Thiruvananthapuram. Next current affairs is British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who has advocated India's permanent position or permanent seat in United Nations Security Council. 42nd current affair is Finland, who has placed NATO base near close to Russian border, and we can see the Finland position and it is closeness to Russia, and Iceland are related to Finland itself. The next current affair is IMF, who has extended $7 billion fund to Pakistan. The next current affairs is related to Center for Nano and Soft Matter Sciences CNS Bengaluru and Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research JNCSR Bengaluru, which has explored the nanostructure assembly behavior, and because supermolecular self-assembly is a process where molecules spontaneously organize into large well-defined structures without external guidelines. And it is significant because the researchers showcase how different assembly techniques can be guide for nanostructure formations, and applications are electronics, medical, and when you talk about the nanostructure assembly, then it refers to process of organizing individual nanoscale compounds such as atoms, molecules, and nanoparticles into well-defined functional structure or patterns. And these assemblies typically range with a size from 1 to 100 nanometers. And there are two assembly methods which are being investigated by these Center for Nano and Soft Matter Sciences Bengaluru, and these assemblies are solution phase assembly, where molecules were assembled into liquid solutions resulting into spherical nanoparticles with unique optical properties, and such is long strong mirror image circular dichroism CD signals. And second one is air water interface assembly, where molecules assemble at air water boundary form flat two-dimensional layers with irregular edges, and these are the pictorial depiction of that. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and follow my Telegram channel to download the PDF of this current affair dated 28th September 2024. Thank you.